To steal a line from Obi-Wan Kenobi, I just got to start this video off by saying, hello there. Hope you guys are having a great new year. I started off my new year really great by going up to St. Paul and visiting again the Starcade arcade and the Bad Penny Pinball. On my last trip, I really just focused on the arcade itself and really didn't play any pinball that day. And it's been on my back burner to get my butt up there and play some pinball. The pinball tables there are pay to play, so you're going to be dropping some quarters in these machines, and it's mostly they're just $1 to play. There's a few that are 75 cents, and I really don't think that's that much to pay to play a game of pinball. I've matched out probably about 12 times when I was there, and when you match out, you just get a free game. So I came out ahead. I probably spent about $35 on my visit. And I'm not a great pinball player, and you can tell that because of how much money I spent. But I'm not an expert. I've only done this for about 4 or 5 years, and I started out doing it on a video game console and getting right back into collecting video games post-pandemic. So this video is more or less, it's show and tell. I'm going back to kindergarten, and I'm doing a little show and tell for you guys. And I don't know what it was with the pandemic, but there was a lot of people playing video games again, and I got the bug myself, and I went up in the attic, and I started bringing down all my bins of my old consoles. And my Xbox One X was getting less playtime because I was popping in Dreamcast games, and I was playing my Sega Genesis. Shoot, I even played my Sega Saturn. I had a little difficulty playing my Sega Genesis. Some of the cartridges weren't reading, and I thought, I'm going to go on YouTube and I'm going to actually search some stuff out and see what I can find out what would help me fix this. And what I found out that there was a huge video game community on YouTube posting videos, of their collections and of all these retro games. I don't know whose videos I saw first, but Metal Jesus Rock stands out. The Immortal John Hancock, Rock Solid Productions, John Riggs. It was just a community that I didn't know existed out there was feeding into my new addiction. And when they started going to conventions and posting convention videos, oh man, I was hooked. My interest was really peaked out, and soon I was looking at a convention that maybe I can attend. And I was seeing videos of the Midwest Gaming Classic, and it's in Milwaukee, and it's about 5 hours away from where I'm at. But I thought I could make the drive and see what these conventions are about. So the first convention they had post-pandemic, I really lucked out because not only did I get to go to that convention that year, but within, I think it was like 4 or 5 months, I can't tell you exactly what it was, but they had another one. So I got 2 within a short period of time, and I loved it. I got to sit down and play some of the old video game consoles that I knew and a crap ton that I didn't even know existed. It was awesome. They had a section where it was just arcade games. You could go back there and play arcade games, and they had a heck of a lot of pinball. And towards the back of the convention hall, where they had the arcade and the video game museum, it was on the left-hand side. I can remember it just like it was yesterday. There was a huge blow-up Godzilla right in the, right back there on the floor, and the surrounding it was a bunch of Godzilla pinball machines. So as I approached the pinball machine of Godzilla for the first time, I was noticing that they had this LCD video display on there, and you interacted with this video display as you were playing the pinball table. This was definitely not my grandfather's pinball table. And as I played for the first time that I've ever played pinball in a long time, I really sucked. And it was just hitting the ball. It wasn't hitting targets. It wasn't doing storylines. I didn't read the board on the table to see what I'm supposed to do. I was just playing whack-a-mole. So I played a few games and I just moved on. And I went a little bit further, in my journeys on the convention floor. And lo and behold, I run into a Mandalorian pinball table. This was the same type of setup. It had an LCD display where it was showing videos of the television series of Mandalorian as you were playing, and I was hooked, man. I'm a child of the 70s. I grew up watching Star Wars. When Star Wars came out, the premiere week, I went 13 times. I rode my BMX bike across town to watch Star Wars. And just having a pinball table that had Star Wars and was showing videos of The Mandalorian, I was hooked, man. I was playing that table a little bit, but I was also getting hungry. And I was walking out, I was looking at some of the toppers on the pinball machines where they had the prices on them, and I was seeing they were from anywhere from $8,000 to, around $12,000. And I thought, who in their right mind is going to go to a convention with $12,000 to buy a pinball machine? This is freaking insane that they think people are going to, pay this much money for a pinball machine and get it at a convention. So I made my way across the street, across the convention area to Doc's Smokehouse in Milwaukee, and sat down and ate my lunch. And when I got done eating my lunch, I was like, well, let's head back up there and play some more pinball, play some more video games. And lo and behold, when I got back up there and I was walking by all those machines, they had sold signs on them. Every flippin' one of them sold. And I knew there was just something special about pinball where people would come up to a convention and spend $10,000, on a machine. And I spent the afternoon not only playing video games, but finding a new love for pinball. And these machines are expensive, so I don't know how arcades make their money on this, but right here, the Uncanny X-Men, that was new just like 4 or 5 months ago. And here at Bad Penny, they got it sitting here right on the floor for you to play. So when you're spending $1 on a pinball game, you can't really think that, man, I'm dropping $1 when I used to drop quarters in these things. These things are uber expensive. And another YouTube show that I was watching was the Ben Heck Show. And I ran into him at this convention. And I didn't know that he named the convention back then. I do now. And he's like a regular staple at this convention. So I walk up to him and I introduce myself. And I'm kind of fanboying a little bit because I want to get a picture with him. So I ask him if I can get a picture with him. And he's like, yeah, sure. And he looks down and he sees that I got my right middle finger in a bandage. And I'm telling him, well, I'm getting to play some pinball and stuff like this. And I explained how I did it. I slammed it in a door at work and it literally just lopped the top of my finger off. But I was still able to play pinball. And he was really interested in all the horror stories from the place that I work. So I was just sharing some of the injuries that I have seen over the years. And he kept on asking questions left and right about what I do for a living and other things that I've seen. And he knew the developers of Spooky, and he was telling me some history about Spooky Pinball. And I got to go back in where they had a sofa set up, and they had a little cooler back there with some beer in it. And we just sat there and shot the crap about pinball and about other things in life. And I could see his passion for pinball, and I really knew that there was something more to pinball than I had remembered as a kid, and I wanted to get into it. So here's a little shout out to Ben Heck, and just a big thank you for sharing what you knew about pinball to a stranger fan that was on the convention room floor. And I'm not going to share any pictures of that injury here on YouTube. I did another finger almost a year later, almost the exact same type of injury, and had 2 surgeries, and they fixed the fingers, and I still have the total finger on that. But if you see me on the convention room floor and you want to see the pictures of it, I will surely share that with you. And I also have a injury of a table saw to a thumb. Kept that thumb as well. And if you guys want to see that, just stop and ask me, and I will gross you out and show you that picture. And I can do that because my wife doesn't come to conventions with me. She's not a big gamer, and she doesn't think there's a whole lot she could do. She would be stopping me. She's like, every time I pull those pictures out, she's like, oh God, please don't show that again. And that's really how I ignited a passion for pinball once again in my life, and learned how to play it a little bit more serious, and just really enjoy playing pinball. It's just more than just whacking the ball around. You're not playing whack-a-mole. It's target shooting, and it's accomplishing missions and stuff. Read what the table describes in the lower left-hand corner, and you'll know a little bit. And I'm no expert at pinball myself, but I really get joy out of watching people play, and there is a great YouTube channel called Dave's Arcade, and he'll have people over his house and they will play different tables, you know, at least once a week, and explain how the table works. And it's really just like you're there and enjoying learning how to play pinball. And there's tons of videos out there besides Dave's Arcade. Nick from the Starcade kind of introduced me to Retro Ralph, and I've been watching his channel, and he's another great source of pinball material. So I strapped a GoPro to my chest and went around and played for a little bit and caught some footage. And I'm not going to show you tons of footage from this, but this whole back half of this video is just gameplay. So if you want to see some gameplay without me telling you how to play the table, because I'm just enjoying it. I'm just going there and playing now. And I don't know if you were interested in some of the flyover videos that I did of each table. I didn't get to every one of them because it just make the video too long, but I wanted to give you a taste of a lot of them, what they had. This one was the Uncanny X-Men, and man, the sounds were great. The gameplay was great. I love the third flipper on the side right there. You can see it. I was just having a blast playing this one. And I never thought in my wildest dreams that they would actually have this one up there. I know they update their list online so you can see what they have available to play, but this just came out 4 or 5 months ago, and I thought my first look would be at the Midwest Gaming Classic, and I was just flipping excited to play Uncanny X-Men. Now, this premiered a few years back, and I played this at the Midwest Gaming Classic, you know, as well, and it lights up, it plays decent, but I just suck at this game. I need to spend a little more time playing this one, and they had the volume just a little, you know, less than what I needed my ears to hear. You know, as I progressively get older, I'm probably losing part of my hearing, but I wanted this thing to be louder. And I went to play pinball last night in my hometown, and they had an Iron Maiden table set up, and that actually had a subwoofer underneath it, and boy, could I hear that. And here's a little bit older of a table. It's Bally's Gilligan's Island, and you can really feel the tactile difference between the new ones and the old ones. And these machines are really upkept well. I know there was a lot that were broken down at the time, but that's just pinball. You know, a lot of moving parts, a lot of things that are going to bust here and there, that get worn out, that they need some tender loving care, and you just got to be understanding with that. And the Gilligan's Island's a little bit older of an IP, but I can see them redoing this with the video screen and getting some footage and making it a really great game. So if anybody's looking for an idea, hey, let's do a Gilligan's Island. You guys just did Scooby-Doo a while back. Why not do Gilligan's Island? Put some new tech in it. And I mentioned earlier that most of these machines were $1, but what I failed to tell you is that you can put $2 in and 3 people can play. So that's not a bad deal. And when you play 3 people at once, you get a lot of time on that machine, and it's a social gathering. And the Starcade does not have a liquor license. In Bad Penny, there's really nobody there. They just have a logbook where you can log in if something's broke or something happens to the machine. You can log in a complaint. But if you're looking for like a snack or beverage, pay the $20 to get into the Starcade and have unlimited play. And in there, they have sodas and snacks that you can have. And they actually have a place where you can buy pizzas. But I just want to say their craft sodas are flipping awesome. Ask Nick for a craft soda and buy some for you and your friends and go out, drop your quarters in the machine and use the cups on the side and enjoy playing some pinball while drinking some delicious craft soda. And you're going to hear in the background of the videos here as I'm doing gameplay, there's a howling going on. There was a young lady there training her dog, and she would have people come up to her and talk to her for a little bit to see how the dog would react. And that's what that howling is. So if you hear some howling in the back, that's just that lady training her dog. And when I go up to a place to do some filming, I try not to get a lot of footage of people playing games or, you know, close-ups on them. There is a little bit here and there, especially backs of the heads and stuff. I try not to get people's faces and stuff like that unless I have their permission. And this day that I went up was New Year's Day. It was actually January 1st. And there was a crap ton of people there. So it was a challenge to get video without people being in it. But it was great to see people enjoying pinball and arcade machines from anywhere from 5 years old up to in their 70s. It was just a neat sight to see. And you can see that they had the Elvira table really cranked up. You could hear the audio. And that game was just awesome. It played really smooth. So this is an older game, and I said there were some that were cheaper, and this one was 75 cents. And it played a little different. Some of the new ones are just smoother to play. There's a lot more feel to them. Like Godzilla will rumble, shake, and it'll go along with the story. This one you can feel all the kickers and all the bumpers working, the spinners. You know, when you run through them, you get the sense that you hit the spinner, but it just doesn't play like the newer ones. And here is a Metallica pinball machine, and this just was a great machine. I love playing this one. I probably matched out on this one 3 times and was just ecstatic because you got to pay to play these. So when you match out, it's like prolonging your gameplay, and it was great. The sound was loud, and the action of the ball on the table was just pure enjoyment to play. And there is a YouTube channel out there that's called Dead Flip, and they got some guys playing it on the actual stern floor. So I don't know if they got a showroom or where that's at. Probably somewhere by Chicago, I'd assume. Somebody will write down in the comments where it's at. But they actually had one guy starting to play, and by the end of the video, you probably had 4 or 5 more guys show up and play and have a good old time. Pinball is really a social game where you can have some fun as a group. So if you know a place where you live that plays pinball, I challenge you, get up, try it, take some friends, get your quarters ready, and go and have a good time. And if you're in Minnesota near the Twin Cities and you want to stop by St. Paul to the Bad Penny Arcade and Starcade, you're not going to waste your time. You are going to have a blast playing these games. If you've enjoyed what you've seen here and you like the stories that I've told, just go ahead and hit that like button down below. I appreciate each and every one of you. Thank you for sticking around this long. If you made it to the end of the video, there's no reason for you not to like and subscribe. And the whole idea of this channel is that I'm the 60-minute gamer because I work 10 and a half, 11 hours, a day, 6 days a week, and I really literally only have 60 minutes to play here and there. So when you see content on this channel, it's from a perspective of I'm just a regular gamer just like most of you guys are, maybe a little more extreme because I collect a lot. I don't have a heck of a lot of time to play, but I love to play games. And if you can't find your way to an arcade that has pinball machines, look up Pinball FX on your Xbox or your PS5 or even on the Nintendo Switch. It's just a great way to play virtual pinball on on your home screens. And they'll have tutorials right there that explain what each mission is on the table. And it's just a great way to learn how to play pinball. And when I go traveling, I will take a Nebula projector. It's like almost like a size of a soup can, and I'll turn that on a tripod, turn it sideways, and play pinball on the wall vertically, and really get enjoyment out of that and learn how to, play some more pinball. And I'll do another video on pinball here in the near future, and it'll be a little bit shorter, not such a big arcade as this one, but they have just, probably about 25 pins in there. And it's a video game store as well that just opened up in my small town of about 24,000 people. And I'll give them a little plug. It's Main Street Pinball in Austin, Minnesota. So if you guys are around Austin, stop in and say hi to the guys. I'm pretty sure that Brian, Dwayne, Cody, and Nick would appreciate your support. Guys, have a great week.